Welcome guys, today to a new video. We are testing a KTM 690 Enduro. So not the Supermoto, it's the Enduro. I got it from BMW, oops, sorry, my BMW heart. From KTM Vienna. And yeah, oops, wait. And yeah, as you see here, it has a fault in the ECU. They said I shouldn't worry about it. It's a very fresh bike. It has 500 kilometers on the odometer, and they say it happens sometimes. This fault is to the quick shifter and clutch, they said. So it happens, and I shouldn't worry. I just should ride it and enjoy the ride. I have ridden the bike previously from friends and so on for shorter rides, also off-road, and now I wanted to drive it and talk a little bit about the bike and express my feelings and how I see the bike. First of all, I really like the concept from KTM with this 690 single cylinder engine. With this possibility like a light enduro, but with the durability for longer distance driving. Okay, the seat is not maybe the best couch to seat for longer rides, but the weight and also the engine is built for many kilometers. So I have ridden in forums and groups that many bikes or 690s are driven by people that have already 60 to 140,000 kilometers, and that's a lot. That's really a lot for a single cylinder, you need to think, yeah? For a single cylinder it's a lot, for GS it's even a lot, yeah? Even that it's a boxer and reliable and so on. But for such a single cylinder with such a, let's say, high output of horsepower, it's quite impressive, I can say. Compared to the older models, I don't know if some of you remember the older models like the 660, 640, 620, 600 LC4 platform. So the older generation, they were not known for reliability, yeah. And this one is for sure. And you see, I'm in the fifth gear, 550 kilometers per hour, and it's. I would say it's also a great city bike because it's slim, it's operating nice, and you see, I can say that's quite impressive from a single cylinder with this segment. I'm for my person, for example, I would say this bike plays in the segment like a CRF 300. I know, completely different horsepower and so on, but there is nothing comparable like a 690 on the market, or I wouldn't know now from new. Old bikes, I know there are some bikes, not many, on the market that could be chosen, but from a 690, I don't know, there is not so much. To the suspension. Suspension is something I would say most people that driving these bikes and are not too heavy, then the suspension is really good setup. Also for off-road, it has so many tweaks and screws to adapt it to itself, and yeah, look at that. It's very impressive, let's say. So there are people of course improving it. Yeah, when you are heavy, when you travel with a lot of luggage, then yes, I would also do respring the suspension to my weight and have a great TED bike, okay? Yes, some people are going even more aggressive for a 500 EXC, but I would say that's not that of a bike like this one. This one is more a street-oriented bike, off-road, of course, also it can do a lot off-road, but it's not so, yeah, it's not so hard enduro style, yeah. Of course it can do a lot, but for example the clutch on the 500 EXC is maybe a little bit more over-dimensioned than this one on this bike, because I can say some people that riding or rode it and have driven a little bit off-road, then they were burning the clutch, because you need to ride such a big bike a little bit different. That's something I can tell. So let's go. And so yeah, it has traction control, it has ABS and so on. That's a standard feature everyone knows, but what I want to talk is just like where I see this bike. So this bike is something where I say maybe for older people, it may be too harsh, but for older people or not so skilled persons, I would say that's a great bike for TED riding and some off-road playing grounds, because you can go with it to work. Everything is legal, like horsepower and so on, and this is a big topic in Germany and in Austria, for example. I don't know in other countries how it is, but AXC 500, for example, fully open, is not legal on road, because it says, I think, 11 kilowatts in the papers, but this bike has not 11 kilowatts, it's around 50 horsepower or something. So yeah, that's something where I say this bike is for sure really nice to do so. Or for people that say, no, I want to go a little bit more hardcore and more skilled, then of course this bike is also great, because it's light and gives you the confidence and possibility to go more hardcore with the right tire. But then maybe an EXC is better. But let's view the fuel rank up. What is a little bit a problem, or I see as a problem, is, let's have a look on the bike. So yeah, I like the headlight because it's an EXC like headlight. The spoked wheels are already reached that you can go, or heavy duty, you can go really off-road with it. Yeah, the exhaust is something, it could be a little bit smaller and lighter, but this can be aftermarket parts that are serving it, and most people are changing it anyway. So yeah, that's something from the outside. Then one thing, okay, it has a very small fuel tank. I need to fill it up before I give it back, because I need to go back again. It's something where I say, oh yeah, and filling up is a little bit also where I say it's really tricky. Not a challenge, but it's a little bit of tricky to do so. So we are again on the road, fill it up and go back to KTM. And yeah, what I wanted to say is also, it's so that when you are coming from a GS, for example, last time I was talking with a guy, he wanted to have to the GS like a more off-road capable bike, then this one is maybe a cool bike to do and add to it. But I said to him, maybe it makes more sense to go for a 890 900 GS, for example, because that's what you can do on a TED. A GS could do, a 1200, 1300 GS, it can do, but I would say for a person, and he said he's not experienced with off-road or anything, will be tricky. Then maybe a 900 GS, because the 900 GS or the 890 Adventure R, for example, or 901 Northern, will suit you in both, because you can go then on adventure off-road and go everywhere where you want, and you don't need the GS anymore, because to drive in the city with the GS is a little bit annoying, because For example, with this bike I could go here between the between the truck and the car and have no troubles. With the GS, not possible. At a little bit too big bike. And yeah, the next thing is, it's a cool bike from the pricing. I say you can, I think for the price of this bike you get a T7, and then it's again the question what bike you want to have, you know. It's a little bit pricey, yes, it's a made in Austria product, but a T7 is also something that some of them are made in France, so yeah, that's something that could be cool. What I say could be also a little bit a problem for some people that came from a more comfortable bike and changing to such a bike like a 690, the seating. The seating is, I think, the most killer, and also the wind protection. When you came from a bigger bike, then the wind protection will be a problem, because you don't have wind protection, and the seat is, yeah, it's more a standing up bike, and standing up riding it is quite nice and you feel really comfortable. Everything is working fine, and yeah, for off-road it's very nice. Maybe I would change the handlebar to maybe a little bit higher one, a little bit, not much, but so that I would stand up in my perfect position that suits me the best. But everything else is also, the suspension is quite good, but you need to compare it. For example, when you go through with a bigger bike and you go over bumpies or some gravel road, then the bike is so that the suspension is not working, but the bike will jump. So this needs a setup for me, because I was driving a friend's bike on a gravel road and I feel like the bike is doing nothing. I'm just jumping from one stone to the other one, and the suspension is not giving me this confidence that I could go faster, for example. But this was just only my opinion, and yeah. So that was the 690 review. I hope you like it. Subscribe please, and hear you next time. Today will be a little bit of a KTM day, doing some testing about these bikes, and yeah, I'm open to feedback from your side about in the comments, like what you think about the 690, how you feel on it, or you drive it, or where you see the bike. Let me know please, and yeah, hear you next time. Bye.